Well, what a week this has been politically. There were the assembly election results that saw the Congress making a terrific comeback, at least for the party in the Hindi heartland on the road to 2019. And then the big question of who the party would choose as chief ministers, particularly in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. In the end, Rahul Gandhi, in a sense, has played it safe ahead of the Lok Sabha elections. He's gone with the old guard in both states. And the younger leadership in both states of Jyotiraditya Scindia in Madhya Pradesh and Sachin Pilot in Rajasthan have had to therefore take a bit of a backseat, even though both leaders had a very significant role to play in the Congress's victory in these states. Joining us on NDTV tonight is Jyotiraditya Scindia from New Delhi. Mr. Scindia, congratulations again for that victory in Madhya Pradesh. Are you a tiny bit disappointed that you didn't get the top job in Madhya Pradesh? Would you have liked to? You certainly would have liked to, I'm sure.
Well, our resolve was, Nidhi, as I mentioned to you, to make sure that we get rid of this government in Madhya Pradesh that believed in the three tenets of Bhrashtachar, Atyachar and Shishtachar. And that was my resolve, specifically after, more importantly, the 6th June 2017 incident in Mandsaur when 6 farmers were killed in cold blood, after which I swore not to take another garland and only take Sooth Malas until we threw this government out. So I took my first garland day before yesterday, after a period of almost 1.5 years, avenging the death of the farmers that had been shot by the BJP government in Madhya Pradesh. I have always mentioned to you that my resolve has been one of public service and commitment to my party. I have also always mentioned to you that whatever decision my party takes, I firmly stand by. And which is why yesterday, when my party communicated to me the decision that Kamal Nath will be the chief minister, I myself said that I will propose his name and leave immediately for Bhopal. It's important in life always to practice what you preach and do that with grace and humility, which is what I've tried to do.
Well, if I could ask you, were you offered the Deputy Chief Minister's post? Sachin Pilot was offered that in Rajasthan. He's now going to be the Deputy Chief Minister there. But was anything similar offered to you?
Well, I'm not going to divulge my conversation with my party chief, but suffice to say that I have always maintained that whatever decision my party takes, I will certainly abide by. My ambition in life is not after any post or any chair. It's always has been to serve, which has been my family's tenet, and in any way, form which the party chooses. The party chose to keep me here in Delhi and not send me to Madhya Pradesh, and that is their decision, which is a decision that I must abide by.
So is there a different role that we could see you perhaps take on in Delhi then, in Parliament?
Well, that's again a decision my party will take. I am at this point of time the chief whip of the Congress party in Parliament. As I said, that I have tried in this tenure of Parliament also to perform in that responsibility. Whether I have or not is probably a call that people such as yourselves will take, but I at least have the sense of satisfaction that I did the best based on my ability.
Well, let's talk a little bit then about, both Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, and the fact that at the end of the day, the Congress president, for whatever reason, has decided to go with the old guard, Kamal Nath and Ashok Gehlot in both these states to lead the states. There had also been a sense among many leaders in your party that people like you and Sachin Pilot, this would have been a great time to give one of you a chance, at least one of you a chance, because Rahul Gandhi has been talking about generational change. He's been talking about pushing younger leaders into more positions of responsibility. In that sense, do you think that the party is actually playing it safe just ahead of the Lok Sabha election by going with experience rather than youth?
Well, I don't think that experience and youth are contradictory to each other. I think you may have a youth with a lot of experience and an older person with not necessarily that much experience. I don't think, I think the key factor here should be capability more than youth or experience. And as I said, I don't think it's a judgment call that I can make. I don't think I'm in a position to comment on my party's decisions, but they must have done so keeping all factors in mind. And once I have said that I've abided by their decision, then that should be the gospel for me.
Sure, but you know, I'm sure you have an opinion on whether you think that the party should maybe take a risk, maybe not now, but sooner rather than later, and give younger leaders, you know, across the board in the party a chance to take on more responsibility. Do you think that time has come? It should come?
Well, I think a lot of that has already happened. You know, I was made a minister in 2008, which is almost 10 years ago, and then made a minister with independent charge in 2012. Now I am the chief whip. It's not for us, Nidhi, to... I think this paradigm in politics has to change. I think it's not for us necessarily to ask, but really for us at this point of time to contribute to the party, because it's only when you build the party's strength that you then are in a position to be, for the lack of a better word, rewarded. And I think right now is the time to roll up your sleeves and get into the heat of things and make sure that the party emerges, which is what I have tried to do throughout the Madhya Pradesh campaign over the last year and a half. 3 by-elections, which we all won, followed by the heat and dust of the campaign starting in April this year. So it's been almost the last 2 years for me, which has been pretty much on the road, covering almost 10,000 kilometers by road to every district in Madhya Pradesh. So
are things good between you and Kamal Nath? I mean, when that picture of you that Rahul Gandhi tweeted of the two of you and him standing in between, there was a real smile from the heart.
Yes, because I, like my father, I don't have a hunger necessarily for a post, and I think that only gets demonstrated when you are in a position of a crossroad, and I've tried to conduct myself with grace and dignity. I don't know whether I have or not. That's for you to judge. But I think my actions should speak for themselves rather than myself.
Looking ahead at the 2019 campaign now, because this is a battle that the Congress has won by winning these states, you have a sort of a big war to win, for use of a better word, in May of next year. One thing that was very clear in these assembly polls in MP and in Rajasthan as well is that it wasn't a walkover for the Congress. You won, but the BJP did put up a very strong fight. So you would concede then that this is not going to be an easy election campaign. You can't take it for granted, certainly.
Absolutely not. You can never take, Nidhi, any election for granted. I think the biggest pitfall is if you think that any election is going to be a walkover. We have won the 3 Hindi heartland states. The BJP is on the back foot. They do not have any answers. They said, "Ab ki baar 200 par" in Madhya Pradesh alone. We, as in the Congress party and the Congress family, have put them in a position that if you take all 5 states, which is Mizoram, Telangana, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh, all together, the summation of the total of all 5 states, the BJP has not been able to cross the number of 200. So leave alone the state of Madhya Pradesh, but they haven't been able to do it across 5 states. But having said that, there are 65 Lok Sabha seats among these 3 states alone, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, of which in 2014 we won only 3. So the upside potential for us is huge. And now the greatest challenge before us is between December and March, April next year to be able to capitalize on that, to be able to position ourselves to at least get a very, very healthy majority of those 65 seats, which will increase our tally tremendously.
Also, interestingly, when we've talked to other opposition parties, after these results, the Trinamool Congress, for example, even the Samajwadi Party, both of them seem to now be very clear in saying that as far as any opposition alliance is concerned, let a face only emerge after the results are out of the Lok Sabha, depending on how the chips fall. I just want to know how the Congress sees that. Clearly Rahul Gandhi's position and standing in the opposition does get strengthened with these results. But other parties seem to be reluctant to therefore make him the face of an opposition Gathbandhan or to declare any face at the moment. Would you think that that's a smart thing to do?
See, Nidhi, we are not like the BJP. We do not believe in foisting someone onto anyone else. We do not believe that our way is the highway. We do not believe that diktat is written by or etched on stone by a single individual or two individuals. We have a coalition called the UPA. The chairperson of the UPA is Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. Every constituent of the UPA, of which one is the Congress party, the president of whom is Rahul Gandhi, will all sit together and decide together the strategy for Lok Sabha 2019, whether to project a leader or not. If yes, then whom? If not, then post the poll. Obviously, the party with the largest number of seats, that leader should be projected. That is on a formal plank. If you ask me individually as a congressperson, for me, there is no two doubts in my mind that Mr. Rahul Gandhi is and should be the prime ministerial candidate of the country. He is the one who's had the gall to take on Mr. Narendra Modi, to take him on his turf, to take him on his issues that he always believed that he had a certain sheen which has worn off. And I think that the people of India have also realized the tenacity and the capability of Mr. Rahul Gandhi.
Well, you said you believe that the Prime Minister's sheen has worn off. The results obviously do reflect that all is not well with how the electorate is viewing the BJP. But what do you say to those who come back with a sense, even from these states that voted the way that they did, that Mr. Modi's personal standing still is pretty good among people? That personally he still enjoys a lot of goodwill, and that could be a very big challenge for the opposition going into the next election? Or do you think that rural distress and these other bread and butter issues have overtaken that?
Well, as I said earlier in my interview with you, you must never underestimate your opponent. But having said that, Mr. Modi of 2013 is not the Mr. Modi of 2018 or 2019. I think people have seen through many of the Maya Jals and the false promises or the jumlas that the BJP has promised the people. And I think the oft-repeated English cliche that you can fool some of the people some of the time, but not all of the people all of the time, aptly applies to the BJP and Mr. Modi and Mr. Amit Shah.
All right, Jyotiraditya, Scindia, all the very best now as you head into what promises to be a stormy parliament session, a very short one, and then a very tough election campaign ahead for you and for the entire party. Thanks very much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.